all of the comedic actors on this show are just so incredible at what they do, combined with writers who just get the core of their characters so that it's just a really good show.
I'm so glad to get to see you both again and to chat for this show. I mean, I've loved it since it launched, and season 5 just keeps the win streak going for you both. So, Kristen, I'd actually like to start with you first. This season gets to see you become a full-fledged cast, or regular cast for the show. What was it like when you heard that they were bumping you up to an even bigger role after recurring appearances before?
It wasn't really discussed or anything. I think they always I always just felt like the guide. Yeah. But I did find out that I'm in the opening credits, and I'm really excited about that. This is also one of my favorite. This is like my favorite show, one of my favorite shows. So being known, just knowing that maybe they won't like kill off the guide, maybe for season 6. I still don't know. I don't have a deal for season 6, but I think I might be coming back, and that because I'm in the opening credits. I don't know.
You might have leverage. You have leverage now, Kristen. You're on the credits.
I'm fumbling this one. Grant, listen, I am so proud of this show and such a big fan, and I'm so happy to be in the opening credits. It's a dream come true.
I love just that passion that you have for it, because I mean, there's so many reasons to be proud of this show. It's funny, it's heartfelt, and it has so many great characters, such as the guide, but also Gizmo over here is just always a delight to watch, and especially this season with what's going on with him. Harvey, what was it like when you saw the scripts and you saw that you were going to finally start to take a step towards what he wanted this whole time, but still not quite get there?
Yeah, it was exciting. The first day of shooting this season was the actual transformation process. So we pick up where we left off last season, which was nice because it made it feel like no time had gone by. And that was, reading that was just like, okay, great, we're doing it, and taking that first baby step. But then having, of course, all the things that follow. Nothing could ever be simple for Guillermo, because if anything has proven the last 13, 14 years of servitude to his master, nothing's ever easy. And I think that's where the comedy comes from with him. It's that he's just a human trying to live his best life, and it's just not happening. It's just not happening the way he wants it to. So it was just fun. The season was really nice to read all the episodes ahead of time, and some really emotional moments for him as well. A nice roller coaster of emotions this season. So, and some really fun stuff like the Pride episode and living in his truth is really nice. And so it's just life. This day-to-day this season for him is definitely been ups and downs and a great journey so far.
So since you mentioned the transformation scene, I mean, it's pretty crazy how wide the effects go in that scene with you and the actor that plays Derek slipping and sliding everywhere. What was it like on the day getting to film that and getting all of that blood everywhere in comparison to prior seasons?
I mean, I'm usually covered in a little bit of blood because of collecting the victims for Nandor and the rest of the vampire gang in the house, but never that amount of blood. It was just, I think we had like 15 minutes of gushing blood in a tank ready to go. And I think that we had to be cautious to not mess anything up because it's a setup. So we have to clean the floor up, clean the ceiling, clean the whole back room of this, like, a convenience store. And Derek, who's played by Chris, is just so fun. And we were improvising, and there's this whole scene where we're just like gliding on the blood, like holding each other's hands and like sliding back and forth, just like, an old like duo, like from a black and white film. It was like Abbott and Costello or something, just like back and forth, just slipping on this blood. It was a lot of physical comedy, which was nice. We get to do in the show a lot, but in that scene, we got to do some physical comedy and to see his transformation and his eyes. And it was just surreal to do that scene because it's been 5 seasons of him like asking for this over and over, and for it to be the first step in the right direction was kind of like, whoa, it's happening. So I'm really excited for everyone to see the season.
How was it wearing those teeth?
You know what? I have such respect for you and the rest of the vampires because that was not easy. It was just like for me, I feel like my mouth's not like big enough or something, but like it does change the way you enunciate things, and it just gives you a little bit of a lift.
Yep. And if you already have a list, I thought you did good. I thought it worked for you because it would have been your first time having fangs.
Right. So
luckily,
that helps.
luckily, yeah.
I don't know what happened, but they mold your teeth and they make it like so, they fit into your own like, existing teeth. But something happened where like the first mold got damaged. So it takes like 20 minutes or something in the mold or something. And then we couldn't use them. So I had to go back into special effects and like it was a quick turnaround. They're like, sorry, Harvey, we're gonna. And then like the second one didn't work for some reason. And so I was like, what? And it's like, yeah, we did it again. And so of course I was like, of course, this is so perfect. It's aligned with Guillermo's storyline that like nothing's easy. And so it kind of put me in that mindset of like, this is it. This is exactly how it feels for Guillermo. So this is perfect. So I welcomed it.
It's definitely a lot of fun from what I've seen so far. I've only seen the first 4 episodes, but from what I've seen so far, it's really fun to get to see what's going on with Guillermo and his evolving transformation. But I also love getting to see the guide really trying to become a part of this family. It's both funny and also sad when she tries her hardest to make these vampires see, hey, I'm just one of you. What is it like for you, Kristen, playing off of your co-stars and, feeling the emotions that she's feeling in those scenes?
It's a lot of work. It's always really sad to play a character that no one really wants around or disregards. I mean, it's sometimes you can go home that day and be like feeling a little sad, and then you realize it's just because you've been sort of dissed for 12 to 14 hours. And that's all it is. It's just pretend, shake it off. But no, it's a very fun arc for the guide to play, and a very relatable one for a lot of people, including myself, of wanting to be included in a group that's not necessarily keen on them. I think there's a lot of people in a lot of school and work situations that are socially trying to fit into a group that maybe just doesn't want them there. And it's a lot, it's energy, and it's like it takes up a lot of energy. It's really hard, and it's like something that circumstances sometimes you don't have any other options. Like I don't know. It's a common sad social thing that everybody's like, be kind, be friendly, but that's just not reality. I'm glad this story is being told, because maybe people find some comfort that they're not alone, but also just like, don't be like the guide and just give up.
It's, she should push herself a little harder. I will agree with you there, but no, I agree though that it's an important story to tell, and it's one that I related to a little bit as well from my own past. So yeah, it's one I think a lot of people are going to love to see. And Harvey, you mentioned it a little bit earlier, but the Pride episode in particular is one that I was really proud to get to see and get to watch. And I'm curious, how was it when you saw the script for that, and what kind of did you help in the behind the scenes of building a lot of that and really ensuring that representation felt right?
I mean, really enough, not really. I think that in the past I've helped out with writing some of the scenes in Spanish with my family members and in the scenes, and I've helped in that way. So I've written some of the scenes in Spanish dialogue with my mom in the show, but not for the Pride episode. I think we just wanted to have Guillermo go to the Pride event and the parade, and I think that the writers room did a great job of portraying that. I think at one point there was talks of maybe, without giving too much away, having drag personalities, different drag personalities join the fun. And so that kind of dialogue was present, and that was fun to be involved with, just because I am friends with some drag queens that are phenomenal, and it would have been great to have maybe all of them, show up. But that's very hard to. That's another dream. That's another show. But it was nice to have the conversation about like, oh, and we could use like Trixie, we could use like Katya, we could use Jinx, we can use just like all these phenomenal performers. And I think that it was perfect timing where like we present that drag is not a crime and that it's part of gay culture and it's part of queer culture, and that it's entertaining, that it's fun, it's beautiful. And so we were lucky enough that we can intertwine a lot of that stuff that is part of queer culture into a comedy that is already having the best time ever, and just sprinkle some queerness in it, just the cherry on top.
Like you say, it feels like just a nice extra garnish to all the layers that is already this wonderful show of when it's not a joke and it gets to actually be a part of someone's personality. It's really heartwarming to see. Now, since you mentioned getting to help write some of your scenes, this is actually something I've been curious about the show as a whole. And I'd like to hear from both of you about it. How is a lot of the filming done as far as scripts for this? Because, as a mockumentary, you want it to feel as natural as possible. So what is that like for you both, in terms of dealing with scripts as well as dealing with any improvisational moments of really helping keep this feeling as grounded as possible?
Well, I think the answer is great acting to take the written word and make it feel so natural. Just kidding. No, not the writing's just so good. I mean, the way they write, they've got everybody's voice down, so it's just perfect. So we don't have to do much. We just sort of repeat the lines, and then they let us do some more takes, and then we kind of get to go off a little bit. But I'm always I'm always excited when people write jokes for me. Sometimes I'm on a show where they don't, and then they're like, "Can you think of something funny?" And it's like, not, sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. This show, this show's been just a dream because the first joke's always the funniest, and then we get to say more things. But yeah, that's I think what you're talking like. I'm not blowing my own horn, but like all of the comedic actors on this show are just so incredible at what they do, combined with writers who just get the core of their characters so that it's just a really good show. Your turn, Harvey. Goodbye.
Yeah, I think ditto. Like everything you said, we're just lucky that we get to play on a show that has an amazing team of writers. They're firing on all cylinders, and we're lucky enough to have that writers room. And that's why we support writers because their words are important. And
I think they actually have a room. Like
yeah.
they have a room, and the writers occasionally have gotten to come to set.
Yeah, I think with every episode,
it's very nice.
It is very nice, and it's nice to collaborate. Where like we do get that freedom. Like we'll do a scripted version, and then we'll get a take we call funsies, where we stay in the same world, and we're just like going from A to B. Maybe we change a little bit of the wording, or maybe throw in like a different joke or whatnot. But to have that freedom is rare, especially on a scripted series. Like that is not the norm. Like especially because you get in that habit and you go visit other people and play in other sets, and you forget that not everyone's like that. So it's like, oh, I'm gonna improvise. No, you're not. It's like, oh, okay. So it's like, that's not the norm on every set. And so we're very lucky that we work on a show where they encourage us to do that. And so it's wonderful. We're very lucky.
Well, I'm glad you're given the opportunity to do both sides of the field on this show. Whichever one ends up the final cut, I'm sure every take is amazing.
Gay rights.
But I really look forward to when people get to finally see this one start rolling out next month. I think people, if they're not on board already, they should, because it's a wonderful show. So it was great to get to see you both again and to get to talk about this. So thank you so much for the time. I appreciate it.
Always, Grant. Anytime.
Have a
good rest of your weeks.